DragonCon, Long Beach Comic-Con, Palm Springs Comic-Con, and the Geek Gatsby, Bernie Bregman himself from Nerds Like Us, tonight.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's The Con Guy, Comic-Con Prep Show.
All right. We got a party tonight. We have a party tonight. We're going to talk about a party we just had this last Saturday night. My name is Jim. I am the managing editor here at The Con Guy. It's theconguy.com. Welcome to The Con Guy Comic-Con Prep Show, where we talk about all your favorite Comic-Cons, all your favorite news, and all your favorite happenings. We are just a lot of nerds like us tonight. We are so happy to have Bernie Bregman with us tonight. The one, the only, the legend. Like I said, the Geek Gatsby. Bernie Bregman is with us tonight.
I am so happy to be here, but I didn't hear a word you said because Sabotage is playing, and I'm just losing myself in Beastie Boys.
Yeah, keep on going. So you can find me on Twitter at @ConGuyJim. At ConGuyJim, or follow us at theconguy.com. That's theconguy.com. And everybody else.
Were you like Facebook? You had the and then you dropped the for marketing, so you were the Con Guy Jim?
No, a actual con man owned Con Guy, so we had to become theconguy.com.
Yeah.
All right, Derek, who are you?
Hi, I'm Derek. I'm a contributing writer to theconguy.com.
This is not a teddy bear, by the way.
Yeah.
This is Rocket.
Okay.
Come on!
Quit interrupting Derek.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying. I don't even have that much more to say. You can
going.
find me on Twitter at ConGuyDerek.
All right.
I am Bernie Bregman, a.k.a. The Geek Gatsby, and you can find me on all sorts of places under The Geek Gatsby and at Nerds Like Us.
Hey, everybody, I'm Ben Kliewer, the regular here on the Con Guy podcast, and actor, comedian, writer, current pusher of Chrysler minivans.
Yes.
And you can find me online at all the interwebs things at Ben Kliewer. That's BENKLIEWER, or you can search the hashtag BK421.
Why aren't you at your station?
Never at my post.
What's over there on the couch?
I'm winding up here. Okay. I'm Luke Cheeseman, known as Cheeseman on the Couch. You can find me on Twitter at ConGuyLuke or on theconguy.com.
All right.
Welcome to the Con Guy Show.
Welcome to the Con Guy Show.
What's going on?
What?
Are you an android? What's going on?
I'm just so comfy
You
on
got
this
the
couch.
nicest couch
This is the
tonight.
most comfy one. I could just
How is that not the guest couch, and the guest is sprawled out on the couch there?
We put him over there
Who
because he
needs
doesn't
guests
know
when
very
you
much, so
just-
he's got to come out to the side.
Doesn't know very much.
And
I don't know very much.
your black leather chucks match the couch.
There you
I
go.
mean,
Look at that.
amazing.
You kind of
Here's
blend
my
in.
camera.
Kind of awesome.
It almost
There
looks
they
like
are.
you don't have feet.
I need a pair.
That's
Yeah.
beautifully not so
I like
great.
I'm rocking them like rocket.
But is this the coolest couch we've ever had? Man, I love
Pretty
that.
awesome. I love how
cool.
basically Jim was like, well, Luke's an idiot, so we put him over on the couch.
He
It's
knows
true.
I'm joking
It
for
is
the
very
most
true.
part.
Was this one of those first of the month
65.
Certainly an
grabs,
idiot.
this couch? Like, first of the month, and they're just kind of all strewn about on corners? Oh, good couch.
Football game coming up soon.
All right. So, anyways, we got a lot going on tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about. We have 3 different Comic-Con conventions that are coming up that we're really going to hit tonight for a little bit. Is a DragonCon, Long Beach Comic-Con, and Palm Springs Comic-Con, which I am still trying to decide whether or not I'm going to drive down because it's going to be 116 degrees there this weekend. So,
I hope you put a bunch of coolant in your car.
geez, I know. Can you imagine run out of if the car overheats in the middle of the desert going to Palm Springs? But I would really like to get down there because it looks like it's going to be an amazing thing. So. We are missing Kari tonight. Kari, so sorry you can't join us tonight. We can't wait to hear about your travels all through Europe. Kari has a new vlog that she is going to be talking about, and it looks pretty exciting. I was watching some of it today. So she's always going somewhere, always doing something, and I know that she would have loved to have been here tonight. But we have a little bit of entertainment tonight, don't we? Ben, why don't you explain to us what's going on?
Okay, so for a number of years now, actually some of my music goes back, over a decade. I learned how to play guitar when I was 15, and so since then, being the nerd and geeky guy that I am, when I was in high school, a lot of it went towards like kind of emo "I Want a Girlfriend" songs, but the other half of that energy went into just writing songs about stuff I was interested in, which was geeky, nerdy stuff like playing video games, watching movies, and that sort of thing. So I kind of started just putting those songs together, and Bernie was kind enough, after having seen me perform these a while ago, to
Well, you
invite
showed
me.
up outside his window so many
I
times.
did.
Eventually,
I did.
he
It was
had
like
to
say
play.
anything. He's sitting there.
Yeah,
I
I was
mean,
there.
he's holding. He's trying it with the boombox, and and then
finally
he
I was
starts
like,
playing
let me
the
just bust out
songs.
the guitar.
Yeah.
Throwing pebbles at his window. But he was kind enough, after having heard me a while back, to say, hey, you know, we're doing a Club Comic-Con, and would you be open to coming and playing some of your music? And I was like, well, yeah.
So this last weekend, Bernie threw the most awesome Club Comic-Con party. We were all there. It was a blast. We're going to talk about it in a second. And we go in, Ben's performing, which is awesome.
Did you not know he was in the
No,
lineup?
I'm just
Okay.
kind of lying here.
I was gonna say I was pretty sure I marketed him.
We were shocked.
Ben
to
put us
know.
on the list to come.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could have invited us, Ben.
I know,
Jeez.
Ben. Jeez.
I did.
So so Ben's going to give us a sample of his kind of crazy humor he had.
Yeah, well, so Jim, I think Jim specifically, or was it Luke? Which one of you guys requested this song specifically?
I think you did, and I did too.
He did. I just knew the actual title of the song.
Right. Well, this is a little mashup that I opened the show with. So,
Team effort.
This is kind of dedicated to all of my homies out there who appreciate late '80s, early '90s rock, and
Who doesn't?
are also nerds. So,
And a little bit of Limp Bizkit.
and a little bit of Limp Bizkit. Should you go that way?
All right.
Feel free to sing along if you want. You at home too. Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody's got a body like you, but I gotta think twice before I give my heart away. You spilled all of your Gatorade, and it's on my knee. Oh, but I need some time off from that emotion. Time to mop up Bernie's Gatorade off the floor. Oh, when that Gatorade comes down without emotion, it takes a strong man, baby, but I'm showing you the door. I gotta have Spider-Man. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Weave a web any size. Catches thieves just like flies. So yeah, look out for Spider-Man. Ah, paper towels.
Thank you.
Baby, listen, bud, he's got the radioactive blood.
Oh no.
Wealth and fame he's
Going
ignored.
with that paper
Action
towel.
is his reward. Whoa, getting felt at by Bernie.
The list is long but distinguished.
All right.
And then I have my favorite verse that I made up.
Let's do it.
Where's he gone? Where's he at? Look out, cause I think here comes the bat. Hey, that's right, it's Batman. He's teamed up with the Spider-Man. Oh, Batman and Spider-Man. Yeah!
Did you mix in a Spider-Man in there? Because that's a deep reference if you went to Spider-Man.
Well, I didn't go to Spider-Man. I went to Batman Spider-Man, which is Mondo Media on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is a series that came out a few years ago, which is it starts off, it's very strange, it's hilarious, and it starts off strange but like relatable, and then after about 10 to 15 episodes they go real weird.
So
But
it's just all strange.
it's so it starts strange and gets even stranger, but it's a fun show.
And speaking about Club Comic-Con, we have a clip.
They have a great janitor.
Yes. I think we have a clip here from Club Comic-Con of Ben actually performing. Ow! I think so. Here we go.
Sing it with me. Here we go.
Here we go.
So say we all.
So say we all.
Should have played at Derek's wedding.
So say
Totally could have.
I know.
If we'd known.
So say we all.
So Bernie's gonna fill us in on Club Comic-Con here in just a few minutes. There's Bree.
Just may have to close the show with that.
I know.
Don't keep that close.
Gotta keep the guitar close. Oh, look at there. There's Ben licking his guitar.
There we go.
Yeah.
But this was a lot of fun. And this is Luke's wonderful camera work here. And he's singing about Battlestar Galactica
Goes
right now.
back
Which
to
is great.
Star Trek.
Oh, it's everything. It's Battlestar Galactica, it's Chuck, it's Doctor Who, it's Star Trek. It's all the shows I grew up watching.
All right, and you notice I just showed a clip. I mean, I showed that went over to the Elvis costume. So I would like to introduce our very special guest for tonight, Mr. Bernie Bregman. He is the founder and owner of Nerds Like Us, which is like so ingrained in everything that the nerd and geek culture, in the larger culture around Los Angeles, is about. So, Bernie, welcome to the show tonight.
I am so happy to be here and making a mess of this set and feeling it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, live studio audience.
What I wanted to do, it was going to be like a
Pour some
performance
Gatorade on
art
him.
piece, and I was going to be like, express the heart and everything with what Ben was singing, and it just went downhill fast.
It just made so much.
I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry, guys.
So, anyways, Bernie, you have a lot going on, but let me start with Club Comic-Con, which
Yes.
happened just this past weekend. We have, I think, about 4 pictures. Well, the first picture is Bernie Bregman himself, and tell us a little bit about Nerds Like Us.
How old is that front picture with you with the microphone? 'Cause that looks like it's from a long time ago.
It's not that
Diesel.
old. That was maybe 3-4 years ago, and that was me guest hosting back at Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, nice.
I was the cast director, the host, the Rocky, and Brad at Sins of the Flesh at the New Art Theater, and that was kind of my first, kind of nerd hobby other than reading comics. Then that transitioned into cosplay. When it was time to put the gold trunks down, cosplay was the
true.
inevitable next step of still playing dress up as an adult and having it be acceptable.
Have you done Rocky yet?
I've actually never seen it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Oh my gosh.
Well, for
After
one
party.
thing, see it, watch it on home video before you go to the theater, because you won't
No.
understand. No.
It's
You
like
won't,
The Room.
You
I
won't
understand.
understand
Yeah.
what's happening. Like when you go to the theater and everyone's screaming the callback lines and all that stuff, like you can't absorb the musical itself. I mean,
how I
musicals
feel.
don't make sense anyway, but for
That's how I used to
you know.
experience Disney movies with my cousins growing up, because they would see them first and they'd be quoting it the whole time while
Right.
we were watching.
Screaming
But it's
at the
not just-
screen and throwing
I never
spoons
really
at it.
got to enjoy Aladdin. Thanks a lot, Rachel, Josh.
It's not even quoting it. Like the whole audience has their own
to call 'em
script
out there.
of calling out in advance of a line or an action on the screen or in return of it, like volleying with
Yeah.
the movie, and you won't be able to absorb it all.
For people who have no idea what Sins of the Flesh is, it is what?
It's a cast of Rocky Horror Picture Show performers. Sins of the Flesh has been the largest cast in the country for the last 15 years. And they perform at the New Art Theater in West Los Angeles. So in a lot of major cities, or not major cities, across the country and even the world, there are casts that perform the Rocky Horror Picture Show at midnight, usually at midnight. And it'll be the screen, you go to the movie theater and the movie's on the screen, but there's usually a stage or something in front of the screen, and then the performers are performing what you see on screen directly in front of you, and it's this kind of cool 3D experience. But they will also come up into the aisles, they will come up into your seat row, they may sit in your lap and interact with you. It's just this
They may expose
crazy...
your genitalia. It's
Well, actually, we used to, but these days that is not acceptable. That would be a form of
Everybody
sexual
got
harassment.
litigation happy.
So
I just remember
it's
Can't imagine
changed.
anybody getting upset about that.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show, when I was in high school, was always a place you took the girls you knew who you could make out with. It's good.
It's where you went to find.
Well, that too.
But anyways, let's go ahead.
To be
How did
honest,
I
to
miss
relate to
that?
you guys, I had not watched it until within the last year and a half, 2 years.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to arrange like a big SoCal nerd thing, and
know.
I'll host one of the shows because any one of them will let me guest host it. But you have to be prepared that it'll be the most offensive thing you've ever seen on stage.
yeah.
I'm in. I'm in.
Like
So-
I start with
in.
Carlin's 7 dirty words you can't say on television just to make sure you're listening,
Oh, yeah, by
and
the
it
way-
gets way worse from there.
We're a PG-13 show here tonight, so
Okay.
I think I don't know what our rating is.
We get like
I think-
5
I think
shits,
pizza
right?
is-
I think we get 5.
And that's
Give us
one.
seven
That's four.
right there.
Four left.
We get 3 of those. I think 1 or 2 F-bombs, but other than that, we are done. Hey, so Bernie, this past weekend, Club Comic-Con, we have a few pictures from Club Comic-Con. Can you tell us what that was all about?
So Club Comic-Con
Hey, it's good
is
again.
a nightclub for nerds.
Licking.
It's like so meta. It's an Inception picture because you've got him in the background
We're looking at a picture of Ben for those
doing
who
the
are
same
listening.
thing,
The
wearing
great-
the same hat.
The great thing about that promotional picture that I sent to Bernie is I took it in my bathroom and then just manipulated the colors on my phone and emailed it to him. Like it wasn't a professionally shot thing. If you
It
look
looks
really,
like it.
Yeah.
It's
That's
very
awesome.
punk rock. You did it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, but that's he's existing in the nerd punk musical comedy genre. Did I get them all?
Nerd punk rock
Rock.
comedy.
Yes.
And I think we have
Comic
a
rock.
couple more pictures here, and if you can just tell us about.
Well, so that was Ben performing. I can't. Oh, is that it's the
That's the
DeLorean?
DeLorean
The DeLorean outside.
Yeah.
That DeLorean is courtesy of 1.21 gigawatt guys.
Yeah. Who I think are standing there with it.
Yeah, I definitely see at least one of them in there.
Some
So
idiot in the
they're awesome dudes. They've got a great Back to the Future DeLorean that's all decked out.
Yeah, that's the guy and his son.
Yeah.
The guy in the black T-shirt owns
Lenny
the car.
and Jeremy Hochtile.
Yeah, and then
Cool.
his son is the kid dressed as
There's
future.
a
we
goofy
go.
guy standing in the middle.
Who is that nerd?
Some sort of cheese man.
All right, if we can go on to the next photo.
Einstein.
All right.
So we had the DeLorean parked outside, and they were happy to be there and be part of it.
That was a lot of fun.
That would be my promo shot. So that was probably during my intro, and
Yep,
then there's me
you're
on the
actually up
side
there.
doing kind of a casual club version of Tony Stark.
And can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing on stage right now with the
With
Elvis?
yes. So aside from we were already going to do Club Comic Con as just a good nerd party, and you know it's kind of in between cons. It was after San Diego and before we ramped up to all the other stuff we're going to talk about. Unfortunately, a very beloved member of the Southern California nerd culture community passed away about 10 days before this. And his name was Eric Kiewut, aka Jedi Elvis. And he just was one of those incredibly positive figures, like always a smile on his face, always contributing to something. One of those very faith first kind of people that always thought about, you know, how is he impacting other people? How is he bringing light into the world? And so whether or not you're a person of faith, you can appreciate that he was always trying to do good in the world.
Yep.
And he did a lot of charity work, specifically for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So when Eric passed and kind of the whole community really felt that one, and Eric was a performer that I had performed with in several shows. There was another nerd nightclub that I had been a part of creating, and Eric was one of the first. He was in the very first show, like one of the first people. I was like, oh, we have to have Jedi Elvis.
Right.
And Eric eventually would have performed at a Club Comic Con show. But then that happened. Yeah. So we dedicated the night to become a celebration of Eric. It was already a place people were going to be gathering, and people were looking for places to go to kind of just be together. Yep. But Eric also had not just the kind of guy he was, but he had left very specific instructions one time a few years ago with one of his closest friends, Anne Marie, that was like, look, you know, if I pass, like, I don't want a somber kind of a service thing. Like, I want a Mardi Gras style party. I want people to, you know, like sing and dance and perform and kind of a jam session.
I tell you what.
And that's exactly what we tried to do.
Club Comic Con was so great, and for people who don't know, Club Comic Con was a great party. All kinds of cosplay and music and drinks and a lot of entertainment. The DJ was great. Who was the DJ?
So we had a couple of DJs,
Okay.
and they're all super talented and very different styles. The first DJ of the night, and then he had a short stint later on during the cosplay contest, but that was DJ Quick Feet.
Quick Feet.
He is fantastic, and anyone that needs a good DJ should absolutely work with him. He's also just a really brilliant person, and he's great to like all his technology is amazing. So he's awesome. The next was the debut. Is the first time a nerd nightclub has had a female DJ, and I'm very proud about that. Yeah. I've wanted to for a while, and just there were a couple I talked to for the last Club Comic Con show, and they actually kind of flaked out about communication. And as much as I wanted to push that, you know, I can't work with someone that doesn't communicate very well. So this time around, Quick Feet actually introduced me to DJ Bubble Wrap, and she was fantastic.
That's such a great name.
Yeah.
She had a great name. She had great mixes, very house kind of dancey stuff.
Yep.
And then the closer at the end of the night is, I call him the bass master, and he is just a real awesome, you know, EDM DJ, and that is DJ Chuck Nunn.
That's a
Love
great
Chuck.
Do we
He's
have
a
any
good
other
kid.
pictures to show? I think we might have like one. Okay, that's it. So, Ben, if you could just tell us a little bit about where did nerds like us come from? I remember the very first time.
Yes, Ben, tell us.
Yes.
You said
Bernie.
Bernie.
Why do you have to have the same letter to start your names?
How confusing.
B-E...
Oh, sorry, Bernie. No,
Bernie.
I think the very first time I actually met you, it was it a couple of years ago?
One of my
at a-
screenings?
Yeah, one of your. It might have been. Was it the Scream 20th anniversary? Because that was last year, was it?
Wait.
Yes, Scream was last
Strangely,
year.
I think
Last year.
I met him on the corner as he was Ace Ventura.
Oh, that's right.
Like walking
that
out
corner.
of a
Okay.
convention. Yeah. And then he gave me a card.
I mean, look, my theater is on Sunset, is all I'm saying.
And then there was the club thing in Hollywood before Comic-Con last year.
Oh, the Jeff Gunn's Infolist
Yes.
party?
Yeah, and
Yep.
then I think the Scream thing was after that, and then I ran into you there too.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about nerds like us.
So I had been producing events without, a titled company or anything for several years, and I produced the 35th anniversary Rocky Horror Picture Show convention. And as I was winding down in Rocky, I was like, well, I know I was getting married at the time, since we're past all that stuff, but it was the time to get to let go of Rocky. I had been in it for 13 years. I had literally accomplished everything one can accomplish in the Rocky Horror community. Like, I played every character. I helped casts find theaters. I helped a bunch of shows in various ways. I produced a convention, the biggest convention in the last 20 years in that genre. And I won. I was awarded two really cool honors. One was the David Award, which was a SoCal specific kind of contributions to the Rocky Horror community, and then the Boss Award, which is the worldwide contributions from all the Rocky Horror fans to the recipient. And I was kind of like, I think it's a good time to go out, and I was, looking
Go
for
out on
things to
top.
do, and exactly, like Elway and not like, Willie Mays running around center field
Oh,
for the
now we're going
Mets.
to talk sports.
Anyway,
Let's do it.
I have no idea what you're talking about now.
Welcome to the sports guy.
Sports? Are we
the
talking
sports
sports?
nerd, the sports nerd.
Sports
Anyway,
nerd. There you go.
so I left that, and I was like, okay, what can I do with this? And I wanted to start a midnight movie series, and there are several midnight movie series in Los Angeles area, and I contributed to some of the titles that some of them had shown, or at least at the New Art Theater, which is kind of the king of the midnights. But I wanted it specifically to be nerd culture. I wanted it to be all the stuff that gets us excited, to get together and watch as, group stuff that we would marathon. And, stuff that we're now seeing come back to the box office, which can go one of two ways. But, I'm always glad that they're trying to do new content and properties that we love. So that's where Nerds Like Us came from. And I started officially in 2010 as a real company. And we started with Ghostbusters at the Vista, and we had the Ecto 1 parked out front, thanks to Sean Bishop.
For those who
who's
are
an
not
amazing Ecto.
familiar with Los Angeles or Hollywood, the Vista is over on the east side of Hollywood.
It's
awesome-
right where Sunset and Hollywood cross, which a lot of people never get far enough to know that happens. So they just think they run parallel the whole time.
No, I'm gonna do one of these things. Yeah.
At the worst intersection in the city, that weird
Yes.
six-way.
Oh, it's awful.
Whatever, but the theater is gorgeous.
It's an amazing theater.
It is.
It's one of the
So
last
much
remaining.
legroom
Oh
in those
God, you have
theaters, yeah.
10 feet of legroom in
Yeah.
those back couple of rows. It's one of the last remaining single-screen deco art house style theaters with an Egyptian theme. There's freaking glowing pyramids on the ceiling and pharaoh heads along the wall, and it's unbelievable.
It's super rad.
Yeah.
Super rad, super rad, super rad.
By the way, did you see my
And
T-shirt?
cheap during the day too.
I did hear your t-shirt earlier.
So what kind of events does Nerds Like Us have coming up? I know that you just finished, as I interrupt you, sorry, you just finished like a giant event for one of the icons of nerd culture. What was that?
That dude, Stan?
Mr.
Stan?
Lee, Mr.
Yes.
Stan Lee.
Stanley who?
Legion M asked me to come in and help them to produce Stan Lee's birthday party, which was an after party to his handprint ceremony at the Chinese Theater.
Fantastic.
So that was really cool.
About
and,
darn time that guy got it.
right?
Yeah, you know.
And so they did the handprint ceremony at the Chinese, and a bunch of really awesome people were there. Todd McFarlane and Clark Gregg and Chadwick Boseman. I know I'm forgetting like one or two other people that spoke, but Kevin Smith obviously hosted it. So that was really, really cool. And then the after party was his birthday party, his 95th party. And we threw it at Stark Mansion. So it's this gorgeous house up in the Hollywood Hills. By the way, for those of you that have watched the movies, that house in Malibu does not actually exist. That's fictitious.
It's an empty cliff. I've surfed there before.
Well, they
Yes.
blew it up anyways in part 2.
Right. Wait, three.
Spoilers.
The Mandarin.
Oh, so yes, of course.
Wait, what's the paradigm on spoilers now? No.
If you haven't seen Iron Man 3 by now, you're...
But the house that it was mapped off of, because it was all CGI, the house it was mapped off was this house.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Yep.
So it exists if you're driving up Crescent Heights Boulevard in Hollywood and you're looking up in the hills and you see it like all alone off the hillside.
Oh, it's the big one up there.
Yeah.
Oh, I know which one that is. I've always
Yeah.
wondered what that was.
If you're sitting there enjoying Griddle Cafe with a pancake the size of your head, and you're looking up at the right, and you're looking up, and it's that
6 inches thick.
sexy ass.
All right. So what do you have coming up for nerds like us?
Let's see. We have the 25th anniversary of the Mighty Ducks.
So amazing.
Flying V.
Quack.
Quack.
Quack, 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 quack. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks at the Vista.
25, are you serious?
25, Aaron.
Aaron Shorts, we want you to come
25
visit us.
big
This
years.
is for you.
If anyone knows any of the cast of the Mighty Ducks, we would love to have
so we're
them
talking
come
to you
say
right
hi.
now. He's supposed to be on the show soon.
Oh, cool.
I'm personal
Awesome.
friends
Get him
with
there that
Emilio
night.
Estevez.
I like tweeted and Instagrammed at all of them. I'm gonna try that again.
All right.
Anyway, and then October happens to have a Friday that falls on the 13th.
So what's that mean?
So we're going to screen Friday the 13th, the
That's
original
awesome.
installment on Friday the 13th.
Now, that movie I have seen.
No Jason.
Only very recently.
What?
No
Oh,
Jason
really?
in that
You
one.
who have seen no horror movies.
Yeah, I watched
He saw the remake.
I watched it like 3
You'll-
weeks ago for the first time, but
The original?
I wanted to screen Final Chapter, but it's not available.
Oh.
They don't give you rights for that. For
Are you
some
serious?
reason.
What about
Is
Jason
that
X?
the one? This final chapter, the one that.
That's the one with
that
Corey
part
Feldman shaving his head.
Part
four,
four?
four,
No,
I
it's
think.
not
Oh, it's part 4. Okay,
Yeah.
wrong one.
Yeah.
so the original will be October 13th.
The original on Friday, October 13th. Friday
awesome.
the 13th.
I wore this Roy shirt on the Scare Guy show, and no one got it, and was like giving me weird looks, which I hadn't really seen part 5
What does that
either,
mean?
or I did maybe a long time ago. There's one time where there was a Jason mask with the blue. I won't bore people again, but when Jason has the blue marks, it's Roy. It wasn't Jason because
When
he
he has
had
the
the
red
red.
marks.
Spoiler.
It's
Yeah.
Jason.
I can't believe we gave away the end of the movie.
Yeah, now I know.
It's on.
Do you have any-
Don't get me started on spoiler culture.
Oh my gosh.
You'll lose followers. I have at least 50 people that have they're my friends, but they don't follow me on Facebook because of that. So
If it's more than 6 months out,
they
and
just they
that's
take it
being
so
generous.
goddamn
That's
seriously.
being really
Yeah.
generous.
The thing is, like, that movie is.
They're spoilerists, is what they are.
Spoilers.
Yes.
They're spoiling it for
No,
all
they're
of us.
so rabid about it that they're an ist.
Yeah.
They're like the rest of the ists.
There comes a point where it is kind of ridiculous.
Okay.
You can only do
Let's
so
take
much.
1 minute and talk about this.
Okay. Oh yeah.
What is the rule for spoilers?
You mean what it should be? Because there isn't one that everybody
What
agrees
sh-
on.
what
I
should
literally
it
just
be?
asked this on my Facebook, and like it's so funny the 100 and whatever comments, but like 15 likes because they're all pissed, but they're commenting to have their opinion heard.
10 years.
I believe the rule. So
No, it's like 10 days, isn't it?
if I read the average, so when you have an episodic, a weekly episodic, let's say like Game of Thrones or
Right.
The Walking Dead, you really have to wait until the next episode to talk about the previous one.
That makes sense.
That's fair enough.
I'd say that's fair. Sure, why
Yeah.
not?
But even then,
At the
you
very
shouldn't,
least, you
like-
should wait until it airs on the West Coast before you talk about it after watching it
Well,
on the
you're
East Coast.
straight up a
Oh,
dick if you watched any of that leaked footage or the East
know,
Coast
I
stuff
agree.
or whatever.
I agree.
But I know people, and they get on and they seriously
But
just talk about who
my
dies.
challenge to that is that the
as soon
point
as it
of
airs.
social media is to react and to talk about stuff as
Yeah.
it's happening. That is the
Oh,
point.
yeah.
That is why Facebook allows previews of your comment section to incite people to stay on there because it's dramatic.
That's right.
There you go.
Trolling.
Anyway.
Trolling.
I believe for feature films, 2 weeks is kind of the paradigm. Ben, would you agree with that? 2 weeks from release date?
Yeah, I'd say.
I prefer to be
listen,
like opening weekend,
if
and then
I-
like by Monday I can
Digital
talk about it.
download.
if I haven't seen a movie 2 weeks after its release, and I'm concerned about spoilers, then I've done that to myself.
Spoiler alert!
I know.
we go.
There we go. Just carry one of those around. That's what you need to always
you
do.
go.
So, if we can, we're gonna wrap up this part, but
Yes.
Bernie's gonna be talking with us about the conventions coming up because we are kind of like very talkative tonight. So, Bernie, what other kind of events do you have coming up that we might be able to help get the word out about?
I'll tell you, the biggest stuff is really going to be coming out for Halloween weekend. So Club Comic Con will be back on Friday, October 27th.
Okay.
Followed by the Halloween cosplay ball by Nerds Like Us, the Los Angeles Comic Con cosplay ball, which is Saturday, October 28th. The first one, Friday, is a ticketed event, so you pay for a ticket for that one. And then the Saturday one is free with your LA Comic Con badge.
Nice.
And those will be two huge parties, but very different style. One will be very like one style, one will be the other style. I am waiting on finalizing some of the headlining talent, but I can just tease it and say it's going to be huge. I can't. Huge doesn't describe the talent that we're going to have at these events, and possible kind of studio sponsorship, partnership, and guests and things like that. So they're going to be crazy amazing, and you have to be there.
It's going to be packed. It'll be packed right because they are predicting this year at Stanley's Los Angeles Comic Con is going to go over 90,000 people.
Over 100, over 100,000.
100.
Yeah.
Wow.
It hit. It scratched in the low 90s last year.
6 million people.
Isn't that amazing? That thing's only, what, 4 or 5 years old?
This will be the seventh.
It's been
seventh.
that
Last,
long?
I think
Oh,
last
still
was
less than
six.
a decade
Well, but
now.
the first year, like they were in the garage in Kenshia Hall, and like you know, it's like a few of us remember that, but if you don't remember that, I think everyone's fine with that.
All right.
But then they kept graduating up, so yeah, that one's going to be gigantic, and they partnered with Entertainment Weekly now, so that just means huge.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Huge. Man, Stan Lee, that guy. That's just amazing. I'm so that's one of my favorite events of the year. I really love that one. Anyways, we're going to jump into, speaking of events coming up, Derek, if you can take us to the bulletin board. Yeah.
All right, let's talk. All right, so coming up this coming weekend, there are 3 right away.
Well, there's
Wow.
one's tomorrow, the other 2 are... Oh, wait.
Yeah, well,
Labyrinth
I must
starts
get the wrong
tomorrow.
dates on here.
Oh, yeah. He's not... If you can
Oh,
tell
that's
us
not
about
even on our
Labyrinth
list.
in a second.
All right, so Palm Springs Comic Con is
Yep.
October 25th through 27th in Palm Springs. Colorado Springs Comic Con is August 25th through 27th. And then Amazing Hawaii Comic Con is August 25th through 27th. So that's 3 happening this weekend.
Yeah.
Plus Labyrinth of Jareth.
The Labyrinth
this
of Jareth
weekend.
Masquerade Ball.
Can you guys tell us about that real quick?
Yeah,
Somebody.
I can. It's put on by a company called Cypher. It's held at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, and it's not just, hey, let's get together and throw a ball. It's like really well organized, very well funded. The tickets are a little bit expensive. They're 3 figures, I think, right? Or maybe they're set like $75.
$1.95?
I got comp, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, I know.
I think they were 75 each, or
Yeah,
at least
I
they were
think
a
we
couple
paid
years back.
$150 for our 2 tickets. I
There you
think
go.
that's what I'm thinking of. But
Super immersive experience.
It's incredibly immersive. Not only do you show up, and so many people show up in elaborate costumes, some people have multiple costume changes over the course of the evening. But Cypher themselves, they provide actors and players who run around dressed as goblins, dressed as fairies, dressed as knights, various fae folk and medieval / fantasy type characters that run around and interact with you.
They have multiple huge bands, 10-piece plus bands that are playing in different spots.
Multiple ballrooms.
Yeah, many ballrooms with different dance themes to them.
And you said this is the 20th anniversary of this
20th
event?
anniversary, yeah.
There are mermaids.
There's mermaids,
There
yeah.
are mermaids.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Merman.
Sounds awesome.
Perhaps mermen, I'm not sure.
We'd love to see pictures of that. All right, Derek, what else? We got a couple more?
All right, the following weekend, September 1st through 3rd, is MetaCon in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, all right.
And then that same weekend, Dragon Con in Atlanta, which I'm sure we'll
yeah.
talk about a little, and Long Beach Comic Con is September 2nd to 3rd.
So that is the scratching the surface list. One of the things that I keep talking about. It seems like Labor Day weekend, right around Labor Day weekend, they just conglomerated. That's not even a word. They've just gathered all these different
Aggregated?
conventions. And you were talking about market share earlier, how it seems, especially here in Southern California, we have all these conventions just eating each other. It seems like.
It's actually not a good thing.
No.
I know everyone else in the rest of the country is like, I want to move to LA. Well, they forget how expensive it is to live here. But because we have cons that are within an hour and a half drive every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then there's a certain point where it's like every 2 weeks, which we're hitting right now. And that isn't actually a good thing, neither from a business perspective, nor from a presentation and an entertainment perspective, because what happens with oversaturation is that, some people are going to go, oh, I'm tired because of this one, so I'm not going to go to that one.
Yeah.
And then talent can't all sign at the same things.
Well, con burnout is a real thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Bree and I, and Bree's been on the show a
Yep.
few times before, but Bree and I all of a sudden, like a year and a half ago, we realized we had con burnout. We're like, we're not going to go to all these cons every weekend because we're tired of. We love seeing our friends.
Yep.
You can go broke doing it too.
But exactly, but you know,
Let's call this the Comic-Con Downer Show today.
Well, and so, but every year, like
much of a good thing.
the problem with this is that it's usually, some yutz with some money is like, oh, I'm going to go make bank making a Comic-Con.
Right.
And then they just pop up somewhere, or not worse necessarily, but the one like the super nerd that's like, if I just do a con, people are going to come, and then they lose their life freaking savings because they're not a smart business person and they don't understand these concepts. So it's like, somewhere in the middle where you get a good business person with money that has some nerdiness or hires a really good nerd person to steer the ship, then you can have a good event, but there's just way too much, way too close together.
I think we are going to see a contraction a little bit. We have already seen some, like a couple of the amazing cons were already canceled for whatever reason. And I know that some other cons that I've heard about have scaled back. Or
Thankfully, Wizard cut their schedule down because that
were like every
con in a
weekend.
box autograph show that's kind of hardly a con. It was
Bernie
a big
is
part of
never short on opinions. This is awesome.
oversaturating the whole country.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that one. So speaking of cons, speaking of cons, this starting tomorrow, there's a fairly new con. It's called Palm Springs Comic-Con, which I am scheduled to go down to. It's 116 degrees down in Palm Springs this weekend, so that's kind
He's
of
going. He's going.
They could run with the marketing slogan of hottest Comic-Con in the world.
Right,
There you go.
hottest con.
Or they could think
Hot
about
con.
what time of year is the best time to have a con in stinking Palm Springs, California.
How about August?
I know. So anyways, but speaking of Mr. Stan Lee's going to be there. Linda Carter, for all you young kids shit, that's the original Wonder Woman. Lindsay Wagner,
Carter.
Rob Liefeld,
She
who's the
still
creator,
looks good.
Deadpool, Jim Kruger, who is a friend of ours, is going to be there. I'd love to go down and see Jim, and so many other people. The thing about and do you know, Bernie, you know a little bit about the Comic-Con happening down there in Palm Springs. It seems like it's really, really zombie-centric this year. They have so many zombie parties.
They went at that last year too, and I think a lot of that's probably capitalizing on The Walking Dead's popularity.
Yeah.
And just in general, zombie culture is kind of at an all-time high. Whereas it used to be when you're looking at kind of the alt culture, it was vampires for the longest. And after the Twilight, kind of spike and die
Yeah,
off.
I think it's okay that we're past that.
Yeah.
I choose not to acknowledge that sparkle pyres actually existed because vampires don't walk around in the sunlight and sparkle.
Lost Boys all
Thank
the way.
you. Anywho,
Next is going to be the Frankenstein phase. Everybody's going to be
they
obsessed
tried that with
sexy
Mockingbird
Steins.
Lane and it failed.
But
Anyway,
they do have a few kind of
Brian
standout
Fuller.
events that are happening. Like they're having.
I loved it.
I loved it. It's just
Oh, that's coming back. It's coming back. They're moving it to
New York, and
to
they're taking
the
on
Bronx.
hipsters. Come on.
The Bronx and hipsters. I don't know about
No.
that.
let's see. If it's not Brian Fuller, right?
Yeah,
Speaking
get
of
Brian Fuller
zombies,
back
They're
on
having the zombie maze room, the zombie saber walk, where they're walking down to the Hard Rock Hotel, where they're going to have a zombie after party. So, they're going to be watching Return of the Living Dead out there by the pool, which that's kind of cool all by itself. They're having a whole bunch of zombie
The
stuff.
zombie sizzler in the heat.
Yeah, they're having a Saturday night costume
with
party
a
at the
zombie
Hard
old
Rock.
person having a heart attack at the Sizzler from
And then
a
a
reading.
late night animated zombie movie
they'll
at
eat
the
'em.
Renaissance Hotel on Saturday night. That's crazy. But so Palm Springs Comic Con is this weekend, and for only being as old as it is a pretty incredible.
It's their
con.
second year.
It's only 2 years. Yeah.
Last year was their
Very
first.
old.
And they are trying.
Palm Spring went from 0 to
they're
2
really-
conventions in last year, and there's
have a
another
second
one.
one,
So
too.
this is Comic Con Palm Springs,
Springs.
and then the other one is Palm Springs Comic Con. And
What? Yep.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, and the other one's in
Okay,
November.
guys.
Yeah.
Right?
The other one's coming up just.
How long can we give it until one of them tries to sue the other for the name?
No, they both
Yeah.
both went opposite on
went
that.
opposite.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have it written incorrectly here. This one is Comic Con Palm
Comic Con
Springs.
Palm Springs. Okay.
Which is the larger-
I've been saying
Which
it
is the
wrong.
larger. The other one's a more of a fan-centric, a little bit smaller.
It's like the difference
I know.
between Long Beach Comic Con and Long Beach Comic Expo.
That's
They're
right.
completely different.
Completely
Right?
different.
All right.
Same company though. that one.
Speaking of Long Beach Comic Con, that's coming up next weekend, Labor Day weekend, the same weekend
And it
as
has William
Dragon Con.
Shatner.
Shatner, who is probably the biggest
Shat.
draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be there. He's going to be
Shat.
shatting all over the
a
place.
shat.
They have one particular room there for people who are into cosplay. They have one of the rooms is called the wardrobe, and the entire day is cosplay cosplay programming.
panels.
How
That's
to
a good
do this.
idea.
I think that's really cool to like batch it together like that, so people.
Kitschy title, love it. The wardrobe. It's good.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. Cool. Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks is going to be there. Some of the original cast from Battlestar Galactica. It's probably not the biggest con that you'll get to this year, but it's kind of
They're about a 35,000 person.
yeah, it's an approachable con. It's one of those cons where if you want to meet some artists and meet some creators, it's a good place to go. So they're also having on Saturday night, BurgerCon is going to be out there. It's
That
like
sounds
a
fun.
ticketed event. It's going to be a lot of bands right
and burgers.
right there. Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Delicious.
And also we had
I'm gonna have to switch to turkey burgers.
we had Bill on last week. The
Geek Film Fest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Geek Film Fest, the Geek Fest Film Festival. He will be there at Long Beach Comic Con, and he is also going to be down in Palm Springs this weekend as well.
Double duty, that guy.
I tell you what, he was taking pictures at Club Comic Con
yes, he
this
was.
last week. So, all right, Dragon Con. So let's move on to Dragon Con.
Or as I like to call it, the Cosplay, Alcohol, and Sex Olympics.
Can you win a medal?
So yeah, no, I asked
Brandon is going to take the gold. Fanboy Brandon will take the gold.
Fanboy
I'm
Brandon
calling it
on
now.
Instagram.
All right, real quick, some of the guests: Stan Lee, Zachary Levi, Charisma Carpenter from Joss Whedon fame, John Cusack.
John Cusack.
There
I don't
we
know
go.
if she still wants to be
Yeah.
of Joss Whedon fame.
Speaking of
anymore.
say anything.
I know we were supposed to talk about that tonight. I wonder. Anyways, we'll talk about this some other time. Brett Dalton from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Michael Dorn, Nathan Fillion, Jonathan Frakes. The cast from Buck Rogers, the TV show, that excites me. Karen Gillian, Sci-Fi's Battlestar Galactica, a lot of the cast. They've been kind of doing a lot of reunion shows with Battlestar this year, and they love Dragon Con. So
Like
that's
how
some of
you-
the people that are there.
I like how you just
It's-
glazed over Karen Gillan. Just like,
Right?
"Yeah, Karen Gillan is something else."
Yeah, this other. Well, we're rapidly running out of time, so I'm trying to get this in there.
shoot.
Yeah.
Also,
You never want to book me on
3.5
short
minutes.
form. That's just
right?
that's just a warning.
but the thing.
I need at least an hour.
The thing that's interesting about Dragon Con that I really love is that it is definitely the city has embraced it. They have a parade. All the hotels, they have 5 different hotels around there. And by the way, we will be putting a Dragon Con survival guide onto our website with a lot more information about the convention.
Sponsored by Trojan.
Yeah, and they they like the parade that they have at
Be responsible.
is the biggest parade that Atlanta has. I don't know how many parades they have there though, but they're having a short film festival, a late night adults puppet slam. I don't know what
They
that is.
literally have parties like
Adult puppets?
it is a party. Like you
Yeah.
can't understand Dragon Con if you've never been because it is unlike every other convention in the world. Like it isn't centered around panels and guests and like they're there and stuff. But like for example, their vendor hall is like 2 blocks away in a mall, and it's still populated by
Yeah.
people. But that's how many people go to Dragon Con. It is you're there to be partying in costume all weekend long, pretty much maintaining that buzz for about 14 hours a day.
I've heard it
Like,
described as Nerd Mardi Gras.
it is absolutely
Oh,
Nerd
yeah,
Mardi
it's
Gras.
Elena
All
Nerd-
the ballrooms,
Nerdy
all
Nerdy
the
Gras.
ballrooms in the Marriott have parties until 4 a.m. or longer, 6 a.m. sometimes. I went to bed at 4 a.m. one night at Dragon Con last year, and there were still 3,000 or 4,000 people on that main floor where the Pulse Bar is. It's crazy.
And it's hard to find a bar open past midnight at Comic Con.
Oh,
Come on.
San Diego
Look,
Comic-Con,
it's-
yeah.
it's-
Guys,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to go to Atlanta.
It's
I know.
the 3 major downtown Atlanta hotels connected by giant human hamster tubes with 80,000 cosplayers, and it's the con that everyone goes
You
and
had me
brings
at
their
hamster tubes.
A game of cosplay, their biggest, craziest armor, orc, whatever freaking costume. Like they all bring that stuff to Dragon Con. It's nuts.
So, in your opinion, what's the best part about Dragon Con? This is year 31 for them.
It's again,
what you
it's
just
the
described,
party
yeah.
con. It's
Yeah.
the party con. That's where you go to like literally party for 5 days now. It used to be a 2-day con, and every time people would come in a day early, and they just added a day to the con. And like Thursday was the new Friday, and now Wednesday is the new Thursday.
And like
In 10 years, it's going to be a week-long con.
Yep.
Well, here's what I don't understand. Like, I've not been to Dragon Con. My family lives just an hour and a half outside Atlanta, so I don't know why I don't go down.
This sounds like it's your
One of my
fault,
best
Jim.
friends, my best nerd friends in the world, Greg, lives 90 minutes. He lives up in Chattanooga, and so
He always comes out here for
yeah,
Comic
he
Con.
comes out here for
so
WonderCon, and it's time for me to go back. But like,
Yeah.
they're having like the
that
Friday
flight.
night costume contest, the Saturday night costume contest, the hallway costume contest, the Star Wars what's up with all these costume contests?
And who dresses
because-
up as a hallway?
Because
don't
okay,
know.
at most other conventions, like maybe 30% of the total attendance is cosplayers. At Dragon Con, 90% of the attendees are cosplaying.
Yeah.
Like, so there's so much to go around. You can't just have one, 3-hour cosplay contest in a ballroom. Like, it's all over, and all the different theme parties, the superhero underwear party, the bunny,
what?
the superhero underwear party.
Describe.
I mean, it's the name. The name says it all.
Please describe.
You're
wearing-
wearing jockeys with freaking Superman on them or something, and that's it. Or it's the excuse to wear a lingerie version of your character.
Jim just turned into a doll. Like,
I guess
There's the Bunny Hutch party, which is like the Playboy Bunny cosplay
I am
kind of party.
booking my plane
Right?
now.
I'm trying to figure out. I mean, because I'm working the one. I'm trying to figure out, like, I could go Wednesday night and I could party Thursday and Friday in Atlanta and take the red eye back to LA for Saturday, Sunday here. Like, I might do that.
This guy's crazy. This is what we love about him, though. But
That's why they call me the Geek Gatsby.
the Geek Gatsby. So, also, I wanted to bring out, like, if you are not able to attend Dragon Con this year, you can subscribe to their streaming service, which will probably be broadcasting
Dragon Con TV.
Dragon Con TV.
When you're
which is-
staying in the hotels there, it's on the TV.
yeah, that's
gosh.
amazing, isn't it cool? And so it shows
They need
panels.
way better talent, though. You guys should all go out there.
Well, I've seen a lot of the Dragon Con TV. Hey, let's go, guys. Anyways, so
Watch for the Con Guy channel on Dragon Con.
I'll make them up pretty
Give
soon.
it time. It'll come.
Do we? All right. So as far as a Dragon Con, if you have not yet bought your tickets to Dragon Con, they still do have passes available. Dragon Con is not quite as. It's not 100,000 attendees. Closer,
It's about 80. You
80.
can't fit, like, so it's the three. It's the Marriott, the Hyatt, and I forget the Hilton.
Yep.
And then it also goes around to a Westin, maybe, or I forget the
Yeah, it's
fourth one.
it's the Hyatt, the Hilton, the Marriott Marquis, the Westin, Peachtree,
The
Plaza.
Westin, yeah. Well, when you say Peachtree, you have to understand there's 9 streets named Peachtree in
I
downtown
know.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's taken over all those hotels, and it's kind of like, they don't sell out per se, but like you really can't fit that many more people.
And can you describe? And I don't know if you know about this, but everything's bundled in tracks. They have like there's classic sci-fi TV track, there's Star Wars track.
Yeah, I'm on the Pulse Bar track.
Okay. Which means you don't attend these other tracks.
Which means I stay in the Marriott at the Pulse Bar.
No, but it seems like all their panels, like it's
They do,
different.
yeah.
It's not just like, oh, here's all your panels. You have
No,
each-
it's similar to the way that Phoenix Comic Con breaks everything down into genre, and
Yeah.
then if you only want to go for this type of programming, it's all in this one spot, and you just stay there, and it's a whole like a progression track of cosplay, or a progression track
Which is
of
fantastic.
film,
I
or a
like that.
progression
And
track
I was
of
watching it.
Doctor Who.
They have they have 35 tracks, and each of the tracks has their own Twitter feed, their own Facebook page, their own web page and stuff. I
great
mean,
idea.
it's like wow, it's like, there's 35 different fandoms within that one event right there, and just probably a whole lot more than that. Mm-hmm. And that Southern hospitality, I tell you what.
I think we're done. I think we've
Does
got
Rocket have an announcement?
Oh, wait.
What? Rocket.
We don't
Rocket's
really,
got
we don't
45
really,
seconds.
Well, Rocket will blow it up. So no, the reason I brought Rocket, we were trying to go over some news of the week this week, and I kind of we have kind of run out of time because there was a lot of stuff I wanted to talk to. You mentioned the Joss Whedon controversy that kind of popped up this past week. I was hoping, but a bunch of dudes in here shouldn't be the ones talking about.
No.
That's
Yeah,
probably.
no.
That's probably.
I think that's a good idea.
So we're not going to
Yeah.
bring that up this week. I was hoping Kari would be here to give us a better perspective. But I brought Rocket because it was kind of cool. Have you guys have not been to Disneyland Resort in Anaheim recently? They over in California Adventure, they have transformed what used to be the Tower of Terror into the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout attraction. It's pretty amazing. But for the first time ever, California Adventure is getting a major Halloween makeover, and that ride. Have you guys been on the what's the
Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion Holiday Makeover when it becomes a whole different attraction?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing's happening to the Mission.
But they just made it into
I know,
that.
Just open.
It's becoming a major Halloween themed attraction with the Guardians of the Galaxy. They are really, really pumping it up.
When is that changing over to the Halloween thing?
I think
I haven't even gotten to see the new one yet.
I haven't
I
seen
know
it.
people
Before I get to the new one.
Yeah.
Like, I bought tickets to go ride it, and now it's some Halloween thing.
I sure hope I'm giving the right information because I read this press release today. I edited it.
Spoiler alert.
But anyway,
You're fired.
so that's why I brought Rocket, but because I got Rocket down when I got off the attraction down at Disneyland, so this is what I got.
Cool.
I actually I really don't like it when they switch the Haunted Mansion to
I love
Nightmare Before
that
Christmas.
one.
I just love
I've
the
not
I
seen
love
Nightmare
the
Before Christmas
I
yet,
love
but-
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
But I just love the Haunted Mansion as it is. And
Yep.
when it's Nightmare Before Christmas, I'm like,
And if
I mean, it's okay.
if you
but-
don't get to go very
There's
often,
4 hours of
and-
debate there.
right.
So,
true.
Well, no, it's just my opinion.
But we only have 40 seconds left of airtime.
can you take us out on the guitar, or is
Yeah.
that asking too much? So, we are going to start
Number one,
by
Cut the
telling,
sabotage.
telling you that next Monday
got-
night we will be back with
we
the
got
Scare
Ben
Guy. We want
live.
you guys to tune in. You can find us at theconguy.com. Be checking out our website, theconguy.com. It's not all spelled out, theconguy.com, for all your great news and all your resources and anything to enjoy the con culture. We just love this culture because it's so much fun, and like Bernie's told us, it's growing fast, and it's kind of like it's going to have to
The
grow
geek
and
have
shrink.
inherited the earth.
The geeks, we're here. We are here. We're taking it. So, anyways, tune in next week. Subscribe here to the show. And guys, where can we find everybody?
You can find me on Twitter at ConGuyDerek.
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Don't really go to my Twitter. I don't use it. At Nerds Like Us, at The Geek Gatsby.
You can find me on the interwebs at Ben Kliewer.
And you were going to pimp somebody.
And
That sounds
oh yeah, I
terrible.
was gonna pimp my buddy Curtis. He is going to be at Palm Springs Comic Con with his podcast, the Unpop Podcast. They're going to be part of the podcasting panel at 1:30 on Saturday, and they're also doing a live show at 5:30 p.m. on Saturday. They're not sure of the locations yet.
So when they finally pop, do they become part of Popcorn Talk?
That's what I was
Well, that's possible, but it stands for unpopular. They have unpopular movie opinions.
All right.
Oh, that sounds.
I love 'em
really
already.
fun.
And where can we find this guy?
And I'm Cheeseman on the couch. You can find me at ConGuyLuke on Twitter or on theconguy.com, and also be looking out for thescareguy.com and the Scare Guy Show coming up soon.
Yeah, next week on the Scare Guy Show, we'll tell you about how Slender Man just scared the beep out of me this past week. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Bernie, thanks so much for being with us. Come back anytime. We'd love to
Anytime
have
you
on
want
the
me.
show. All right, guys.
2-part episode.
Sing it, Ben.
We'll see you soon.
Cause
Ben?
my weekends are wasted on marathons of BSG. And you know my heart's locked up inside Warehouse 13. Reruns of Chuck and Firefly, Heroes and Quantum Leap. And it all goes back to Star Trek TNG.
All right.
I knew I liked you.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.